Hi, I'm Romi.
And I'm Nicole. Welcome to the Her Pursuit Pod, where we share our journey of building our business, The Daily Drip, a dynamic media platform that provides content and community for more than 4,000 South Florida female CEOs, founders, business owners, executives, and professionals.
Whether it's through our newsletter, events, or this podcast, our hope is to inspire your next big move and arm you with the tools you need to crush it. So tune in on your drive to work, wind down with us after a long day as we share our journey and the journeys of other remarkable business leaders on Her Pursuit.
You're going to open this episode. I'm done. I did the last two and I'm over it. We should just start the episode just like that. You're going to open the episode. Hi, everybody. My name is Elizabeth. I'm the creative director.
It's year two and we're still having the same fucking conversation about who's opening.
Oh, no. I think we should just start the episode just like that. So, like, everybody knows who you are. They kind of know who I am. I'm the creative director of The Daily Drip, and I'm going to be interviewing, I'm hijacking the episode today to interview these two beautiful women. So, this is going to be our season ending for season 2. And we're pre-recording a lot of this. So it's not even summertime technically yet, but that's a little movie magic for you. So today we're going to get into a little bit of some flashbacks from the season and talking a little bit about the Daily Drip. You're coming on your 4th year of business. A lot has changed. So we're going to dive a little bit into that and kind of give everybody a sneak peek as to what to expect from season 3 coming soon, hopefully.
Season 3 of the pod.
Yeah, exactly. So
God.
can you imagine? I mean, I feel like you guys still don't identify as podcasters. Like you're still like, and like we're going to be coming on a 3rd season.
I'm just stepping into a couple of titles. Podcaster is like not even on the list.
Day 1, I told you guys, I'm like, you guys are gonna be like influencers, and you guys were like, no, I'm gonna stay behind
Behind the scenes, although we're not anymore.
although you're not.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Welcome. Okay, so when you first started the Daily Drip, take me back. What did you think you were building? Because a lot of that has changed from how it started to what it looks like now. So, in simple terms, what did you think the Daily Drip was going to be?
You know, when I first came up with the idea in brainstorming, how would we do this with Romi? It was around solving very narrow problems. It was like a lot of professionals know that they need to have a digital presence. They don't know how to do it. What if we could create a platform where I'll teach them how to do it, since that's the work that I do. But then once they actually create content, we'll have a whole place to go and showcase it on. And everybody wants to be showcased. Everybody wants to be shouted out. Everybody wants their name and business and expertise out there in lights. And I think this is going to be the answer. And then, like a year into it, it was like, I think we can get paid on this. I think people will buy this as a service.
I think I can quit my job.
Well, yeah. And then like year 2.
Did you think of it more as like a passion project then, originally?
At first, the Daily Drip wasn't even charging. It was just it was a vehicle for both Romi and I to build a network, build a reputation, build expertise, and hopefully those people would come and do marketing with me, would come and do financial services with Romi.
So it was more of like a lead gen for your consulting. Like, yeah.
It was more to let people work with me and see what it's like to create content, and then maybe they'd want to hire me to manage their media operations at their company. Which that did happen until about year 2, when I realized, oh my God, I can't manage like a full client roster and this monster that's growing. So, that's when I decided to walk from consulting and really go all in, both feet on the Daily Drip. And I think now what I realized is it's even evolved beyond a platform where people can promote themselves on, which I think was very limited when I first thought of it that way. I think it's become now this creative container, this like outlet where these people who have such interesting journeys, interesting stories, interesting expertise, it's like a place where they can go and share it. And I didn't realize that there's not a lot of places for that. And so Yeah, we promote it. We promote their stories and expertise on the Daily Drip platform. We post the articles, the podcast, all the things. But I don't think they're in it for that. I think they're in it for the simple joy of curating their story, like articulating it, getting it out there and sharing it with someone else who says, yeah, me too. Or I know what you've been through, or I've been through something similar. I've seen that. I've experienced that.
It's the practice of storytelling. And like, I think when they do it for the Daily Drip, it's almost like sometimes they're dry run, and like the better they get at it, the more they're willing to do it on their own platforms and build their own business. So it's sort of like, it's like their playground before they go off.
No, I think there's a lot of people out there, especially because so many of the women that we're working with are professionals. They're attorneys or they're in these different industries. They're not necessarily the most creative in a writing, like in the way that we operate.
When I highly doubt when they started their law firm, they were like, yeah, like this is gonna be a creative job. Like, I highly doubt.
All of these jobs are creative, but in a different way. And this, I think what's been really interesting is kind of watching the evolution and like the catharsism that comes with that. Like it's very cathartic for them to write their stories. And it's developing something in all of us. And I'm learning. I mean, I even just messaged Nicole this morning saying like, even through each one of her presentations, I am learning and then applying. Like I am doing this alongside of them. But this muscle of things that you have in your head, things that you want to share, things that you want to say. And then we've created a place that allows people to let that unfold and give them the education and the support and the structure to say, okay, this is what's going on in your head. This is what you care about. This is what you want to share. And here's how to convey that in a digital way, in these different ways that is compelling, that is real, that you can feel proud of, that you will be supported in because the whole community gets behind every single one of them when they show up and share something that, for me, I think that one of the most, what's been so moving and why this has become even like more just I continue to be humbled by the fact that these women are choosing our platform to share something that they haven't shared with anyone else, that is vulnerable, that is in front of professionals. So when you see someone like Karen Ross, who's a very prestigious CEO or partner at a very well-known law firm, and she's known for her professionalism, share an article about the experience she had with her mother, and one that is very private, very personal, but she chose us. She chose the Daily Drip to explore that and then to share it and blast it. Same with Tiffany Doge, and the list goes on. I mean, every single one of them has created something that's impactful, like each one in a different way. So I think like what's really been awesome to watch is like that piece. I don't think we expected that's what we would be doing. We looked at it from the standpoint of like, you're a professional, you have expertise, let's give you a place to showcase that. But what I think I've noticed is that it is so much bigger than that. They are sharing way beyond just like the profession they're in, but it's really a demonstration of who they are and things that are truly changing the way people think, the way people live their lives. Like the impact is far greater than I expected.
Yeah, I think it is definitely a place where people can show the human behind the career. And I think the process of sharing your story is very cathartic. But I think then when it resonates with this whole audience and people actually reach out to you and they DM you or they email you or they call you or text you or at an event they come up to you and say, "Hey, that piece you wrote, it's printed and pinned in my office." Like now all of a sudden, not only did they get it out for themselves, but like there's this like residual catharsis and now being connected to someone that you didn't know before, but now you're connected on this like very deep level of having a shared experience and you didn't even know each other before that. And that's kind of, I think, what we're still learning this all is.
I think, sorry, just, on our landing page, I think it's the landing page where it says like one drop can make waves. Like when that was the first thing and a while back, like I don't even think I realized the depth of what that really meant. Like I think I understood it like at a high level, but the fact, to your point, of that's exactly what's happening, and I mean like tsunamis. Like the people that are coming into the fold. And I don't think that piece,
They're connecting over the stories.
it's amazing.
Well, I was gonna say if I can add kind of to that realization, like when I came into the Daily Drip, I think you guys were a year or 2 years in already. And even for my business, like I'm a creative, right? I think like most creative agencies gravitate towards like the cool, I would say like sexy products. Like you want to work with like this cool makeup brand or and like coming sort of from like the influencer space. That's what I expected to end up working with. And what I've discovered slowly through working with you guys is that they need it the most. Like your demographic needs it the most. The consultants, the law firm owner, the agency owner, whatever, they need people like us more than the makeup brand or the clothing brand because they're already like kind of have that like it's almost like easy marketing. It's like that's like too easy for us, you know? It's the low-hanging fruit and the more I've worked with consultants from a creative standpoint, the more I've realized like I find my work almost more rewarding because I know it's more challenging for them to figure out like what do I do on TikTok? Like what do you mean I need to get on TikTok? Like it's hard. The convincing and education factor is one part, but aside from that, even for me, it's a challenge and I enjoy it. And I think they need it the most because when their stories go out, like you said, the way it resonates and the way it surprises people is so different because they're sharing something authentic, they're sharing more of their stories. It's very personal brand and front facing for them. Whereas for other brands, it's more logos and products. I think it's cool to see the founder front facing in that way. And yeah, I just think they need it the most. And it's been really cool to discover that alongside you guys in a way.
I agree. I've kind of had I guess maybe because we're both in marketing in some capacity, we both have that kind of brain and work. But I had one thought leader who I think gave the best feedback slash compliment that really shifted my whole perspective, which was, originally when I was thinking it was about the promotion, I was expecting the value to live in how many reshares, how many clicks, all the analytics, right? And then she said to me, which she did a series that got over 400 reshares. I mean, her article literally went viral. And so there I was, all excited that she was going to be as excited as me over the analytics. She cared not. I mean, she cared. It was cool for her. But she said, I can't tell you how much the Daily Drip and doing this, sharing my stories and putting it out there in this way has changed my day to day. Like my conversations are changing. I'm going to the same professional events and people are coming up to me and saying, that article, oh my God, when you said this, she said, even like her team, like they're reading it. She's like, I never thought you always think about like, the network or the community reading thing. She goes, but it never dawned on me that one of my team members whose desk is right outside my door is also reading it. And like she and I maybe didn't have the most intimate of relationship, but now there's like a deeper level of understanding and respect and trust. And like she knows me in a different way now. And that is really the shift that I was like, wow, this is so much more than the analytics.
Most vulnerable is most relatable, and the more vulnerable they get, and to an extent, right? Like obviously to support their business and to support their personal brand and all that, but the more vulnerable you can get and the more better you get at storytelling, the more people resonate and the more those kind of connections happen. And it's not necessarily about the numbers, but it's the depth of those numbers. Like it could be 5 people, but if those 5 people like really, really feel that connection, I think it's a lot more powerful, right?
Also, like I've always believed that people buy people. Like I have always just known that to be true. I really believe that. But I think that now it's even more it's like an even bigger thing because people are craving to know the people behind what's going on. Like people care that the person filing their taxes or doing their tax work, they care about what they care about. They care about who they are as people. Like none of these people, none of us are doing something so revolutionary that there's not a million other places they can go. So that being said, the only way, and I've learned this through doing it with Nicole and from learning from the master, that the opportunity to showcase not just what you know, but in a way that tells a story also about what you value, what's important to you, who you are as a person, is like cutting your the I don't know if you want to call it the sales, like whatever, the get to know you piece is cut significantly. And now when I meet someone, like, people were showing up and being like, "Oh my God." And like the kinds of things they were dropping, like, "Are you paddling again?" And I was like, "I don't even know who this is." But like they were I saw your story, I saw this. Oh, my kid also graduated. But they're choosing who they want to work with through how you're showing up in person and digitally. And I think that I didn't understand how far that was going to take. Like I didn't really recognize that impact.
It's definitely cutting the get to know you process and the sales process. In half isn't even fair to say. It's virtually eliminating it for many industries. If you can story tell and create content that connects and resonates, people will come up to you and feel like they know you. Just like for this thought leader, people were coming up to her and taking the conversation from like instead of from level 1, they were starting at level 5 because there's this deep connection and resonance with the person. And I think that's why even like 2025 World Jobs Report listed storytelling top 3 critical skills of the 21st century. And what's funny to me about that is the more the Daily Drip grows and the more I do, the more I realize storytelling almost isn't a skill. It's innate in humanity. Like all of us are storytellers. So it's less about building a muscle and more about just creating the space. If you just give someone the opportunity to tell their story, they will. And it will connect with people. And that's like the biggest question I get asked all the time is how do you get all these women, like these big, like, key players to write these pieces that are so compelling? Like, how do they have the time? How do you teach them how? I literally just gave a space and said, what's on your mind? What's important to you? Why? And they just start talking and you just give them the blank piece of paper. It's literally that simple. So the idea of it being a skill that needs to be built, it's almost like it's a habit that needs to be formed.
Interesting. Yeah.
To say that yes, but I do think there's a little bit more to it. And I think part of them being able to do this is there's such a community of support around them that they know there's like a feeling of like people have my back. I'm about to put this out there and everyone's there to rally behind it.
Yes.
And they trust us even more so to know that the quality and how it's going to be presented and how it's going to be demonstrated is something they can feel proud of too. And I think that's a big deal.
It is.
Like there's a trust factor there. And I personally think we'd be remiss to almost overlook that because these stories are not things that happened to them yesterday, but they have waited till now and they've waited for this platform and waited for this community and this opportunity to share it.
There is
a lot of things.
there is a safety in community and a trust in the system and process we've created that telling your story is not only easy and organic, but cathartic, fun, exciting. There's so many other emotions around storytelling because we have created the safety and support in the community, and we have such infrastructure to showcase it.
What was it like building that level of trust in the beginning? You come out of the gate, like you're starting this business, it's a passion project. You slowly are starting to build this trust. I guess my question is, what's the hardest part about building the Daily Drip? But more specifically, what has been the hardest part about building that trust? And what advice do you have for any business that wants to build that level of trust with their audience?
Honestly, I mean, trust, this is so much bigger than in the Daily Drip. I mean, how do you build trust, as a person? That's such a hard question because I don't know that I can tell you that what I have always tried to do is to be there alongside someone when they're stuck, when a mistake happens, when they're not understanding. It's taking the time to help them understand, to help them get unstuck, to be alongside them in the weeds, in the muck. And then at the end, producing something that they can turn around and say, I'm proud of this. And then I can turn around and say, I'm proud of this. And then it becomes, we did this.
I love that. But at scale, what advice do you have for someone? Because I think that like that's easy to do with smaller numbers, right? And then as you scale, how do you continue to make them feel like you're next to them?
That is the secret to scale. That's literally it. That's where everyone gets it wrong. You think that you're going to scale when you're at 1 or 0. So you think in big numbers, but whether it's trust, whether it's sales, whether it's results, it's scaling is just the culmination of small little things compounding over time. So by me building trust, one woman at a time, one story at a time, that woman told one woman, who told one woman, who told one woman. And now all of a sudden, 4 years later, we and I have a reputation. That's how you scale.
But I mean, maybe this is like too basic of a way to answer the question. But honestly, I think people trusted us from the gate because we are exactly who we say we are. There is no surprises. People could trust that we were genuinely showing up as we were. People felt comfortable right away. They were ready to drop their guards because we were relatable in a lot of ways. I don't know. Like I honestly feel it's almost like an intangible, but it was so real from the start.
Well, because we weren't, well, this is actually a very big factor that we both overlooked. Remember that when we started, we weren't selling anything. It was just a passion project. I had my consulting firm, she was in financial services. So we didn't approach anyone with a product to sell or something that we were pushing. It was nothing but passion, right? And a cause. We were inviting them and enrolling them into this cause. And we were also creating a very low risk, very low barrier to entry. Couldn't get any lower than free, but there was still a time component. They still had to choose to contribute and be vulnerable and put in the time to create the piece. So I wouldn't say it cost them nothing. But the barrier to entry and the risk was very low. It gave us the opportunity to earn trust because they got to interact with us, experience us, and see what kind of people we really are. Because, yeah, we're very likable. I'd like to think we're likable on the onset. We're authentic people. We're easy and approachable and, fun to work with. But we could still have shitty reputations. Like people would still not trust us if we took those opportunities and really didn't take them seriously.
Yeah, no, I think authenticity is a very common thing around the daily drip. No, and even the way
It is 100% a common thread.
I think that like that deserves more of a spotlight is the fact that you guys have always been the people that you say you are. You're very consistent, and even the way you show up, the way you look, the way you show up on the podcast, from physical to emotional to the way you talk, like it's all very, very consistent. And I think a lot of people would think when you're building something like this, everything needs to be so buttoned up and so like perfect. And I think that like that sort of contrast is what people are like, oh, okay, I can chill and I can relax around this. Like they got me.
Like we say, everyone's out there saying things like you just got to take an action, you got to do that. Like we're saying things because we are doing it.
Yeah.
Like we are living what we're saying. We're not telling you to do something that we don't do. Like we don't wait for everything to be perfect. We're hoping for the best. We've given it our best. Like we've done as much as we know we need to get some momentum, and also understand that all of like we got to year 4 through iterations of like one core thing. But it's evolved because we started, we created this thought leadership program, and then that evolved when we understood, okay, they want more of this is more of the gap, this is what they need less of, whatever it is. It has happened through us paying attention and learning through doing.
Right.
So when we say the things we say, it's because we know it to be true because we've experienced it. And I think that's also a contributing factor to trust. When I follow people and I look at influencers, I gravitate to the ones that are talking from a lived experience. I'm not interested in hearing someone speak on something they haven't done. I mean, I'll listen, but I'm certainly not going to take their advice.
Yeah.
I want to hear from people that understand what it's like to do this, to start a business, to go through what we've been through, to build a brand, to be with a part, all of the elements, to balance. I'm not even using balance, but to deal with all of the things that life is throwing at you. Like I connect with the people that are out there that are talking to me from a place of doing. Otherwise, I kind of feel like just, shut the fuck up and sit your ass down, for lack of a better.
How has the Daily Drip changed the way you guys look at business as a whole and the way you look at how content connects to that?
From the rookie amateur, I'll lead with this because I don't even think I understood from the technical, like from the side that you guys look at it. I don't think I understood how important and how meaningful and how essential it was. And it's through co-leading this organization and talking to these, like, I'm able to now say, like, this is why, like, you need to be talking about this in this way so that people know you exist, so people know who you are, so people understand what you care about. And that has also, like, for me, I feel like a lot of my perspective comes more from the side of the people that are coming into the community, because I identify more from their angle and less from like a marketing strategy side. So I'm looking, and I've had this conversation with a few different women. I'm like, I didn't even know you did this. Like, I didn't even know this is something, and why aren't you talking about this? And you have a platform, you're not sharing it. So it's not just about showing up, but there's like a way to show up that is compelling. So I'm learning that, and it gets me excited because now I've learned through doing it and I'm sharing it.
Yeah.
I think.
And I think in a lot of ways you've always kind of represented like them.
Yeah.
Like that's why like I mean I feel like you're like you're sort of like in the ground, right? And Nicole's like over here like how do we amplify the voice? But you're like pulling them from the trenches like hey, come over here, right? And I think but you get them, you understand them, you get them and I think that like that's what makes you guys a good combination because Nicole might not understand that level and you might not always understand Nicole's level. You're kind of learning obviously at the same time, but you definitely represent kind of the ideal member or thought leader.
Sessions sound like that because I can look at her and say, I don't get, like, I'm them, I don't get it. So like, and it helps us to then know how to talk to them.
Right.
So I'm kind of like the dummy.
Oh, it's integral. Not only are you not the dummy, how sad for all the business owners out there that don't have a Romi representing their target audience and being able to be in a strategy session and say, I'm your target and I don't get what you're saying. That word doesn't mean anything to me. It's industry jargon. Like the word brand, the word content means nothing, nothing tangible to most business owners. So if you're a marketer or creative and you're talking jargon and you're talking brand and all the words you and I would use in a meeting, it means nothing to them. So you have to change your language to talk to them in a way that makes sense to them and resonates to what they call their pain points, what they call the results that they want, not what you call them. But I would say what this has taught me is that, well, it's taught me a couple things, but I'm going to try and break it down for anyone listening because I think it's really important what I have really witnessed even post-COVID. I've always said that business really boils down to solving a problem, right? So like if you're struggling in your business, you're either you're focused on the wrong problem or like an irrelevant one, or you've got the right problem but your solution sucks, right? It's not relevant or people just don't trust you and your solution. Like they don't know who you are, they don't like you or they don't trust you, right? So it's like can be synthesized to that. And I think a long time ago, marketing and advertising was something businesses could buy. They could buy brand awareness. Now they know who I am. They could buy likability, get me on a stage, sponsor. I can talk now. I can show them I'm like them. I can create relatability. Trust. They can hire consultants and hire the right team to help build a brand story and create the type of promotional content and commercials and all the things, advertising, that people can say, oh, that brand is me. I identify with that. I trust it. The good people are there. It's going to help me in solving whatever said problem is, right? But now, like, marketing and advertising is not something you buy, it's something you build. And that's where the problem is for a lot of business owners. We're entering an era where it's about being a content first accountant, a content first consultant, a content first attorney. Every business is now a media business, and you can build it yourself. You can build it through your email campaigns or newsletters or your social media platforms, or deciding to have a podcast, or deciding to do events like masterclasses or discussion groups or summits. Like, it's now become something that you don't necessarily buy your way to. You have to build. Every business has to build their own media ecosystem. And then the products, like, you can start with your main flagship service, but then maybe you add something else, another solution that solves the same problem. And you just keep adding products and adding products. But you can do that because you have this whole ecosystem that you built to talk about it, to promote it.
Also to like social listen too. Like,
Yeah.
talk about a social listening tool, like social media. Like, yeah, you're promoting yourself and you're building an audience, but you're also able to listen to your audience in such a direct way that like a billboard never was able to do, you know?
It's almost like every business is a media business now in the 21st century. We're all in the media game. So we all have to have these pieces of the puzzle that create a media ecosystem. We all have to build a database. We all have to have distribution channels, ways we talk to that database, email, social media, whatever, right? And then the products almost become secondary to that, because like, we started out fundamentally as a thought leadership curriculum. We didn't come out and roll out a coaching program like so many coaches do, right? Like, we didn't come out and say, here's our curriculum on how to be a thought leader, buy our course or come to our events, enroll in our program. No, we positioned ourselves as a media platform, and it's something you subscribe to, read our content, all these things. Then we rolled out the membership community. Now we have hats and we have makeup bags and magazines. And it's like, now we're a studio where you can buy service. Like, the services have just exponentially grown. All the solutions and products you can buy have exponentially grown. They all solve the same problem. We're still focused on the same problem and creating solutions for it. But at this point, it's almost like we built the main thing, which is the media ecosystem. Now we can sell whatever we want, and we can continue to create and iterate and evolve and get creative and listen for what they need, what the gaps are, and we can go back to the lab and continue to serve them. But we would never be able to do that if we just focused on building products and not building an ecosystem to promote them.
And I think that we're, at least what I experienced through watching and working with so many business owners over the years, is that we have been very good and very consistent at what our focus was, who we were serving, and it's gotten more refined, but who we were serving and why we were doing it, like all of the critical components, and we've stayed on target. Whereas a lot of businesses that I have seen, they were compromising their own integrity for dollars to broaden the audience or broaden the people that were going to buy. And I think that what I have noticed is that that's a big mistake, because then who you are, your brand, it gets messy. It gets harder.
Nobody
Because you're looking, you're like, well, you started as an organization that's this, and you served this, and all of a sudden now, you're bringing in different demographics. Like, it gets confusing. It's no longer why the initial people. I think paying attention also to the early adopters. Like, why did that particular first cohort, let's say, of thought leaders, why did they say yes? Why did they buy in and commit to it? And then nurturing that, like, that was always our big focus. We were like, okay, if we want more subscribers, we have to put our heart and soul into supporting the people that are going to write the content for those people to read it. So that's where the energy went. It's like, how do we help them develop? How do we help them continue to grow and evolve into the best version of a thought leader rather than figuring out how do we just get as many, like I think we've been really good about that.
Make the content good. Like,
Make the content
you
good.
gotta
The
promote
rest.
it, but like it's got to be good. Like you don't want to promote a bad article. You don't want to promote a bad video. You don't want to promote a bad podcast. Yeah.
For us and for them.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest lesson I learned in season 2 of the podcast. Like season 1 and season 2 were pretty much logistics. Like, okay, so you want to start a podcast. Like, what are the systems and processes you need? And what are the platforms? And how do you set up an account? And how do you upload? And it was all that stuff. And then somewhere along the way in season 2, I realized, okay, now we know how to podcast. And now it's about the other piece of the puzzle, which is it's got to be good or no one's going to listen to it. Like you've got to create good content. You've got to create entertaining, educating, relevant, exciting content that people want to consume. That's the other half of it. And a lot of coaches and consultants focus on the technical side of things. And yes, you need that. But there is a world where things are boring and then they don't resonate, and you can have all the systems and processes and tools in the world and it doesn't equal success. So I think this was the year I realized, okay, I feel confident. I know how this works. We have the team, we have the systems in place. Now we need to focus on the content itself. Are we talking about the subjects that resonate? Are we preparing our episodes and our conversations in a way that people feel like they're sitting at the table with us? And how do we make sure we do that and do it better and constantly raise the bar on the quality of the content?
I think a lot of the times, like in anything related to content, like to an extent, like you try to get it right the first time. But it's better just to start than to not start at all, right? And I think like in a lot of like the initiatives we've rolled out, everything from like Spark to this podcast to, events, whatever, we've kind of like learned as we go. And we also take in notes and take in that data and say, this works better, this doesn't. And even with the show, I feel like we've seen what episodes resonate more. We see what episodes are like not as thrilling. And yeah, going into season 3, I think there's going to be a lot of pivots, a lot of adjustments. I'm going to wrap up the episode now. But if you're watching this, it should be September by the time this goes out. So definitely yeah, it's definitely not September now. But it'll be September by the time this goes out. But we hope you guys follow us on all social platforms from YouTube to Spotify. Definitely comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, subscribe to the newsletter so that you know everything that's going on at the Daily Drip here in South Florida. Season 3 will be coming very, very soon, but stay tuned because there's a lot of content that you've never seen from us before that will be coming out. So yeah, we'll see you guys on season 3 of Her Pursuit.
Yeah, season 3. Let's get it.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Her Pursuit.
You can listen to new episodes every other Wednesday on Spotify or watch us on YouTube. Stay in the loop on all our virtual and in-person events, read our latest articles, and catch new episodes by subscribing to our free weekly newsletter.
Check out the episode notes for more details, and we'll see you here on our next episode of Her Pursuit.